Barakatha Shai, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah HaKodash. Heavenly Father's name is Yahweh, His Son's name is Yahweh Shai, Rakah HaKodash is the Holy Spirit. All right. That's what comforts and guides us in all understanding. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel, and double honors to our elders and apostles that came back in the reincarnation. It's reincarnation, Israel, they're known as great millstone in these times. All right. I'm just going to hit some various topics. Lord willing, let's be edifying. Just some things that a few different videos I wanted to do, but they could have been all really quick. So I was like, you know what? Let me just hit these topics of these things that I was thinking of. I was trying to find a video for reference that the elder brother Ariala had did, centered around an interview that Bishop Nate had of the IUIC. But it's all good, you know. If he gets back, it's all good. If not, we tawab. But yeah, you know, I went on Google. Let me bring up my screen. You know, Shalom to elect households, 144,000 and 1/3. All right. The Akim, very few Akwathim, Wabanim, Yashal, the brothers, sisters, and children of Israel. All right, the elect families that are Bathamayim Wa'amaf, which means in sincerity and in truth. Okay. Now, this is just some news articles, some news lines about food pantries. All right, because famine is coming. You know, you can't forget that that's a major part of prophecy as well. It's on the horizon. So this is just some news articles about food pantries running low. It says not sustainable. I think this is Dallas Fort Worth. DFW food banks struggle to meet surging need, even as their resources decline. Help Nobles trustee to help your neighbors. U.S. food banks pantries struggle with donations, food prices in 2022. So that's only a year ago. This is June of this year. We need help. Johnston Food Pantry for veterans runs low. All right, so the veterans are feeling it first in certain areas of the country. Babylon food pantries running low on supplies. Living on a prayer. The Manchester's food pantry is running low on food. Here's how you can help. Again, on June 11th, a catastrophic hunger crisis. California food banks are being flooded by families seeking help. This is on July 10th. This year, New Hampshire Food Bank fights new obstacles to food security. This is February this year. Every day is doomsday. How a food bank is struggling to keep up. So you can see it's all around the country. You know, food banks brace for likely sharp rise in need for food when federal pen, you know what, helps drop. All right, so this, you know, we've been trying to warn people of this, and even though this is happening in the background, you're not going to see it in the news. But us as prophets of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, it's our duty. It's our duty to report on these things, all right, because we understand that we're watching and we're praying, all right, because there's scriptures that say that we'd be protected from these things. But the people who don't adhere to them, specifically the nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're going to be relying on this stuff. You're going to be relying on food banks. You're going to be relying on rations from the government, even though you say you're not. You may have something now. You may be put in a situation where you're relocated and then you have to, all right? So, you know, it's important that we fast and pray so that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai will give us abundance, you know, make us smile. Like it says in Job 5, we're going to get it. At famine, we're going to laugh at these things, all right? You know, that's Amos 3:7, I'm was in the Hebrew 3:7. Surely the Lord power Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai will do nothing but revealeth his secrets unto the servants of prophets. And, you know, food banks running low. Obviously, I Googled it, right? And looked everything up. But who's doing this? People who really understand the secrets and the Most High's plan, the prophets of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, are really the only ones that understand that this food pantry thing is actually a very serious issue. All right, very serious issue. I want to get these couple scriptures, all right, and all you got to do is type in famine and see where the Lord warned us about it. All right, that's how you study. Just get a few of these, all right, and move on to the next topic. I don't want to make this too long. 2 Ezra 15 and 5th verse. Now, 2 Ezra 15 is apocalyptic chapter. All right, this is an apocalyptic chapter when you read the whole entire thing. All right, starting at verse 1, it's going in. Okay, listen to this. I'll start at verse 1 and read into 5. It says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in my mouth, saith the Lord. And the reason why it says speak to his people, because a certain elect remnant are going to wake up when they hear these words of prophecy. All right, it's going to send off a signal in the spirit to say they need to get right and start watching and praying and believing on Yahweh and putting up that spiritual sacrifice, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. So there's the people say, well, that was written by man. Okay, so it was written by Ezra. He was one of our forefathers, and he told us that they were faithful and true. Moving on. All right, moving on. Don't give me the excuse, oh, that was written by man. How can you believe that book? But everything that you believe in was written by man too. Fear not the imaginations against thee, like I just said. Let not the incredulity, meaning the unbelief, of them that trouble thee, that speak against thee. All right, just like during the time of Nehemiah, you had Sanballat, all right, you had the Arabian, you had the Horonite. They were trying to frustrate the building of the temple during the time of Nehemiah. So likewise, in these times, we built up a spiritual temple in Yahweh, all right, like lively stones. You're going to have the scoffers. You're going to have unbelievers, people saying, you know what, that happened back in June. You know, that happened back in 2022. So we're okay now. No, you're not watching. All right, you're not watching. You're busy looking at schools opening up around the world, building a foundation here in Babylon, planning for the Passover 3 years from now. These things don't pertain to salvation, man. These are imaginations. These are the things that will dwindle your faith. All right. It says, for all the faithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And here's how they're going to do it. Behold, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. All right. And one way that death and destruction, like the modern day sword, is your gun. All right, or any other form of Esau's tactic to destroy people. You know what he's going to do when he comes back with that disease warfare. We don't know what he's going to call it. It's the C-Ba right now. You know, the COV-Ba. All right, if you know what I'm talking about. And he said that all the stickers and the you know what's, all right, the 3-point shot that everybody got last time is not going to prevent what's coming. All right, so what was the point in getting in line? All right, that's why I also put on these various topics talking about health, you know. So this is second, jumping forward here and a couple other precepts. Second Ezra 15:49, I will send plagues upon the world, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste the houses with destruction and death. Right, and a lot of houses are going to be wasted because they weren't going to have no food. You know, people are going to be odds in trying to figure out what they're going to eat. You know, Jeremiah even sent up a curse. He said, we're going to get it. Let me get a few more here. This is 2 Ezra 16:18, the beginning of sorrows. All right, so food pantries running low all over, man. All right, you know, that one in California was the hit that says, living on a prayer, the Manchester food pantry is running low on food. Here's how you can help. Where was it? New Hampshire Food Bank fights for new obstacles. A catastrophic hunger crisis. California food banks are being flooded by families seeking help. All right, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. Great death is coming to the world, man, from Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. Beginning of wars, the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, bad times. What shall I do when these evils shall come? All right, because Ezra understood reincarnation. He would be here getting these secrets and dropping the knowledge. All right, now I want to go straight to the one in Jeremiah. All right, Jeremiah 18. Jeremiah 18:21. Therefore deliver, because remember, we're speaking these words, and meanwhile you have a lot of scoffers saying don't quit your day job, you know, or that's not the real language. Those aren't the real names. Mary was a virgin. You're going off here, you're going off there. The MARK is a philosophy. You know, when you get to the cash register, Esau's going to tell you to believe in Christianity. That's all nonsense. All that's going to stop when the food stops. You're nobody going to be thinking about that Fugazi doctrine, you know, like the hypocrisy in the north of Fugazi. All right. And because of that, you're going to have to deal with famine. You're going to have to deal with famine. A lot of you other Israelites out there, you believe you're Israel or you're Yisraelites, all you Todah Roba Israelites, you're going to be right in line getting these rations. This is Jeremiah 18:21. All right, Jeremiah 18:20. It says, shall evil be recompensed for good? For they have digged a pit for my soul. Remember that I stood before thee to speak good for them and to turn away thy wrath from them. Therefore deliver up their children to the famine. Jeremiah was pissed off, man. Deliver their children up to the famine and pour out their blood by force of the sword. Sound very reminiscent of what we just read in Ezra, because they received the same vision. So Jeremiah was putting it forth as a curse. Yeah, you can curse. All right. Because remember, he already asked the Lord, "Give heed unto me and hearken to the voice of them that contend with me." Where is it at? Because he said, "Remember me, for I stood there for the people." Yeah, here we go. 20. Remember that I stood before thee to speak good for them and to turn away that wrath from them. All right. So he's like, look what I did, you know. But on the flip side of this, do this. And let their wives be bereaved of their children and be widows, and let their men be put to death. Let their young men be slain by the sword of battle. All right. And one way a lot of them are going to be put to death is this food, man. Jake ain't going to know what to do when the food stops. And they're trying to go to these pantries and use different forms of payment, EBT and SNAP and WIC. All that stuff is going to stop. They're going to try and put it inside of you. All right, but even then, if Esau gets to the point, because the Lord's going to make it short, Esau's plan, the new world order, you might not be able to use that MARK. All right, you might get hit with a missile before that. Who knows? But look at this other translation. All right, it says, "So let their children starve!" Exclamation point. Let them die by the sword! Exclamation point. Let their wives become childless widows. Let their old men die in plague, and let their young men be killed in battle. Jeremiah was pissed, man. He was pissed off. All right, let's get a few other scriptures. Let's bring in the balance real quick, because just because famine's coming doesn't mean that's something that we have to be afraid of. I want to get that Job 5. This is good too in Psalms 37. They shall not be ashamed in evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. So one way or another, the Lord is going to make us satisfied. There was an account out there. Brother said that you can, maybe in those days, if the Spirit allows and your faith is strong enough and you be showing your works, the Lord will reward you. You pray to the Lord, say, "I'm hungry." You wake up the next morning, there's a fully dressed deer, or a fully dressed lamb chop on the table, fully cooked meal already ready for you. You can smell it, you can see it, but nobody around you can see it. Nobody in your neighborhood or wherever you're at can smell that food simmer. The Lord could do that for you and have you satisfied. 33 and 19, to deliver thy soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. The Lord's going to keep some of us alive in famine. It says that in Ezra, he's going to require his elect from among the number. All right. Job 5 and 20, it says, "In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh." So a lot of us are going to witness this. We're going to see this firsthand to combat the Esau's coming with the draconian measures, or that sorcery and that power that speaks of in Revelation with the beast. He's going to bring all that, man. We're going to see this destruction. But it says this, "At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth." So it says that destruction and famine, one way or another, the elect of Yahweh Shemawashah, which is only of the nation of Israel, no heathens, all right, no Edomites, all right, no Syrians, no Moabites or Ammonites. All right, they're going to have to deal with that famine. All right, and again, food pantries are running low. Next thing I want to talk about is looking up words. All right, it's okay to look up words, man. All right, I wish I had the video. But this is a discourse, this is the spirit, because the elder apostle Bar was just getting into it with vocab. Let me see if the elder brother has sent me that video reference. This is it, the Wadi Havash shot. Yeah, buck dancing. That's what it was. It was buck dancing. I was watching it on the way to camp. All right. Buck dancing, because the elder Ariel made a very, very funny point in this video, but it was true. That it's okay to look up words. It's okay to look things up. And that's what vocab doesn't do that, and the likes thereof. All right, and that's why God hates Edomites, but we don't. And all it takes is just looking words up. All right. Which is okay. Proverbs 15 and 28. "The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things." Now, when you're in elementary school and when you're in grade school, junior high, high school, part of your studies, all right, part of your reading comprehension, all right, what do you always get? You always get a vocabulary list. It starts off with what? Looking up the definitions of those words, using those words in sentences, and then what ultimately you're tested on those words. All right. So it's important to do word searches. When you hear don't abhor Edomite, but then throughout the scriptures it says that the Lord hates Esau and all this judgment, and Esau is the end of the world. You don't want to hate an entity like that. You have to say, well, okay, why is he saying that? Let me go look this up. And a simple word search crushes that. That's why the scripture says the heart of the righteous, meaning the spirit. All right, the spirit of someone truly sincere is going to study if to answer, because eventually you're going to have to answer for the things that you say. All right, you're going to have to answer for the things that you said. Which you saying you don't hate Edomites. What does that say to a new believer? Someone who's just coming into the truth. All right, and this is on this part that Elder Ariala said it's okay to look up words, and that really stuck with me, man. Because that's the business that we're in. We're in the business of looking up words. We're in the business of the basics, right? The sincere milk. Now, also, this is a good discourse here. This is importance of looking up words. Here, vocab's never gonna get it, of course. This is like Mike Tyson sparring with a kindergarten. You got Elder Apostle Bar here going back and forth with vocab alone. He doesn't know his his head from his ass. You know what I mean? Um, and you can see here. I'll just read a little bit of this. I still gotta watch Elder Apostle Bar, the newest video about his response. But in this video, the elder had went in about it said vocab in St. Basil about GCJC find commonality in scriptural ignorance. Now down here it says you can actually prove the point with Rebecca. She is literally also called Alma, which this should be Ilama. All right. In the same passage, he for some reason, I guess vocab, if he puts it in all caps, then that means it's correct. Look, you're not gonna fool the elect, my man. All right. Read Genesis 24:43. Behold, I am standing in the spring of water. Let the virgin who comes out to draw water, to whom I shall say, please give me a little water. Rebecca was also a young woman. She certainly was not old in that passage I used. Many women who were untouched virgins, Bathwala, were also young women, were also young, Ilama. So I am not surprised that the Hebrew word for woman, Ilama, also appears with the Hebrew word for an untouched young woman, Bathwala, in the same passage. That being said, Isaiah 7:14, Hebrew word Ilama is used, which means a young woman of marriageable age. Mary was certainly young when she was married to Joseph. All right, vocab, can you explain to me Acts 13:23 of this man's seed at the Most High according to his promise, raised up unto Yashar Allah as Savior, Yahweh Shai? How did Mary acquire that seed to bring a progeny directly from the lineage of David? And that's a great question. And then, of course, vocab. He's bobbing and weaving. Every time he bobs, Apostle Bar catches him with a hook. He bobs the other way. Apostle Har is there with the uppercut. And Apostle Ramlab too. The spirit is he's getting jacked up in the spirit. You got all the brothers. How about Shema Shah is giving vocab a spiritual lashing? All right, and all it takes is just looking up words, man. All right, even with these guys who are buck dancing. All right, all it takes is looking up the name of the Lord everywhere you go, and they'll require you to say their names. All right. But when it comes to the Lord's name, all right, it's okay. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to look that up. I truly believe in the IUIC that they're told that they're not allowed to look up words. They're not allowed to dig into the knowledge and find out that a lot of the things that their leaders are saying are completely false. All right, completely false. Let me get a few basic scriptures. Let me get Proverbs 4. All right. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom with all thy getting, get understanding. So it's okay to be wise, right? It's okay to also look up words, right? But you have to understand these things. Well, why do you have to look it up? What does the word mean? How do you apply it within its context, right? Because sometimes when you look up Lord, it's just going to be a dunya. And other times when you look up Lord, it's going to be Yahweh. So somebody could say, oh, well, that's not the Lord's name. It says Adunya. Well, I say, well, did you look it up? When you go to Acts 7:45, it says Jesus there, but is that actual who the world knows as Jesus, or is that Joshua? Did you look it up? Is that Jesus spelled the same as all the other Jesuses in the New Testament? It says Yahushua there, just like in all the other scriptures. That's what I'm saying. You have to get understanding. And it's okay to look up these words. It's okay to look up Edom in Deuteronomy 23. Thou shalt not abhor Edomite. That's Assyrian. All right? That's Assyrian. Some other ones. The M-A-R-K. You got Kwai, and then you got Thawa. You got to look up the difference of these things, man. All right? You have to, because it'll stump the wise of this world, right? Foolishness. Corinthians. The things that we speak, it's coming from a perspective that this world can't receive, all right? Because we're coming at a very basic level, but that's how the Spirit is revealing it. This is what I want right here, all right? Unto babes like this, all right? Sincere milk we're dealing with. All right, 1 Corinthians 2:13, which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdoms teacheth, but which the Holy Ghost teacheth, the Rakah HaKodash, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. So even in your word searches and looking words up, if you don't know how to apply them, you're just looking them up just to build up this massive vocabulary. The scripture talks about that. There's one that teaches himself, but is so much more yet behind. Right? And it's basically unprofitable to yourself. Just like vocab. He's doing all this looking up. Vocab, you're an Edomite. And you keep going we forced you to go into the scriptures. Before you found out about the Hebrew Israelites, you weren't looking up words. You went to theologian school. You're talking about, Greek, all this stuff. You know all of this, but now you're forced to go into Blue Letter and compare words now. You weren't doing this in your previous videos. We forced you to do that. Why? Because we look up words, and it's okay. All right. Don't let a group like this. All right. A group like these guys. All right. Buck dancing. Let me hit this next topic, then I'm gonna wrap up. All right. I just want to show y'all, my regimen. I'm pretty strict with it. My cognitive health going back some years, 9-10 years. I've been ever since the elders and apostles, when they first started the topic of herbs, way back when, I've been pretty healthy, you know what I mean? And I've probably only been sick a handful amount of times, in the span that I've been in this truth. Probably total sickness hours, definitely under 100 hours, of being sick. Maybe 120. Because you know how to curb it, you know how to avoid it when it's coming. So I'm just going to deal with cognitive health. I'm pretty strict when it comes to my cognitive health. And I'll just show you all a few things. Here at my desk, I always keep this rosemary. You could take some actual rosemary, some live rosemary. I actually got some hanging. I went out and harvested some, so I got it hanging up in the crib. And when it dries, I'm going to drop it in some 100 proof. Because this is going to go away. And with this, first thing in the morning, rosemary is good first thing in the morning. It's good for memory. Just shake it up. 7 for completion. I also keep a ginger mint just for inflammation. This is my, instead of chewing gum, trying to get my breath fresh, I'll take a couple of these, right? So that's also good. Bacopa is also a good tincture. If you can find the actual plant, that's good. But I know a brother, he has an apothecary, and I just get it from him, But I keep a big thing of it. I always have Bacopa on deck. Bacopa is good. What you do is you take this 2 or 3 times a day, about 2 milliliters full, right? You see where the 1 milliliter, you take about 2 of these 2 to 3 times a day. And remember, you got to change your diet up too. It's best to maybe not eat meat for a while so you can see the difference. And nothing's always instant. It's going to taste at least one moon, 21 days or more. But another good one is Gotsu. I'm not going to show the company, but you can go to any place and get some go-to. And you can actually go-to. You can go to Home Depot or like a nursery and ask them where their herbs are. Ask them if they have go-to cola. Now, the one thing I actually grow go-to, I have some. You have to keep it in one specific area because it's like a weed. It'll take over your entire garden. It's like strawberries. It's a ground plant, so it'll root, shoot off, and then root somewhere else. It grows crazy. That's really good. You take that go-to, you dry those leaves. You can use it in your smoothies, or you can make a straight up tink. Make it a tink with it. All right, and then also I always have some form of mushrooms. Now I have a pill container. It's got all the days, and I keep my vitamin D, zinc. I always keep a pumpkin seed oil and B12. Those are my bases. Vitamin D3, zinc, pumpkin seed oil, and B12. And then I just swap in some of my cognitive stuff. And another one I like to use, all right, is the energy for mushrooms. All right, any type of mushroom energy support. This is good for brain function, along with this right here. All right, this lion's mane powder. This is really good. All right, this is really good for, as you see right there, it says brain health. But this is also good for strengthening your bones, man. Put this in your smoothies. All right, you have a crucial workout. You won't be as sore. All right, but some of the mushrooms that are in here, you got your reishi, rhodiola, your maca. There's maca root in here. Chinese ginseng. Says cordyceps militaris. You know what I'm saying? So these are some of the things that you can use. Lower in this video doesn't get clipped, but you know, these are all good for the cognitive health. And the reason why I'm bringing out this aspect of the health because Esau's going to come with his frequencies, man. All right, we don't. The wiles of the devil are many, so then we got to make sure that we're on point. And I do these daily. I mix them up. If I don't have all these supplements in my pill container, I may go to because I have Bacopa. I have Bacopa in a supplement form, in a pill form. You know what I'm saying? I have Go2 in a pill form. I have another one, ginkgo. I have ginkgo leaf. I also have ginkgo. I don't have ginkgo tincture, but I have ginkgo in supplement form. And I take all of these every day. I don't go one day without doing at least something for my brain, and then I'll switch it up, every 21 days, I'll switch it to another organ. You know what I'm saying? So in about 2 weeks, I'm going to start working on my heart health. I'll be taking my magnesium, my goji berries. You know what I'm saying? I'll be doing reds, stuff for blood, some cayenne pepper, all that good stuff. Magnesium is very good for your heart. Some hawthorn. I'll be drinking my hawthorn tea. Hawthorn berries are also very good. So let me just get a few scriptures. And I'm going to wrap up here. All right. Wrap up. This is Ecclesiasticus 25. And this is one thing that always runs through my head. All right. 25 and 13. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 25 and 13. It says, give me any plague. That's a heavy statement right there. I'm just going to say that right there. Give me any plague. Any plague. Think about that. Give me any plague. Everything's on the table. Nothing's off the table. But the plague of the heart. So anything but the plague of the spirit. Because remember, if you can have control over your heart or your spirit, all right, your lust and your desires, and you can critique and fine tune. Because right now, what I always do too, what you should do, 2 weeks before the season's changing or when a frost is coming, basically a couple weeks before the season changes, you should need to change your diet drastically, so that way you don't get sick. Stay ahead of the curve. Especially with Esau, you don't know what the hell he's going to do. But like I said, give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and that's why I said for good stuff for heart health. Your spirit, your cognitive abilities. All right, I called them off. You got your rosemary. Rosemary's good. Rosemary's good for memory. You know what I mean? Bacopa is really good. All right, that helps pineal gland. All right, it helps send the blood from your spine to your brain. All right, it helps unblock what's back here, so there's more blood flow going to your brain. All right, and then Go-To cola, ginkgo's good, and then you got your mushrooms. Always incorporate your mushrooms. All right, it says in any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. Which, again, any wickedness, any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. But the point here is any plague but the plague of the heart. This other scripture I had here is Sirach 30 and 15. It says, health and good state of body are above all gold, and a strong and strong body above infinite wealth. All right. And to have a strong body, you have to have a strong mind. You have to have, yes, there they go. That's it. That's the other one. The water, GMS Yasharala, Para Siempre, spirulina. I got some blue spirulina. Sometimes I put in my smoothies. You know, if I want to change the color, um, spirulina is great. Is a great herb for cognitive health. You know, great herb. And this said it's the organic. Yeah, the cacao powder is also really good. Um, Good for the mind, like the brother said. Shalom, man. Bashim Ashabakata, Bashim Kakadash. But yeah, this precept here, health is a good state of body or above all gold. All right. So in order to have a good state of body and health, you have to have a strong mind. So that's why I just wanted to touch on a little bit of cognitive health there. Um, Through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. I gotta get back to work here, you know. I want to say shalom to the elect. And I pray and I know you were edified. You know, you took some things from this, you know, about the food pantries running low. Continue to look up words, the very basics, foundations, the etymology of word can stump people who come with their wayward doctrines. You know, they can talk for 20 minutes, slander you, all right? But as soon as you start hitting them words, Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, for some reason, the tail goes behind their leg. All right. And again, keep your health up, you know, and it's all with faith. I must say that too. I have to say that too. This is with faith. Don't be doing this stuff and you just, oh, this is going to work. I'm doing it. No, you pray to Yahweh Shemal Shai that he'll put the spirit on the herbs to work within you, you know, and stay ahead of it. Don't be a crisis actor. Something happens. Oh, now you want to get into it. No, do it beforehand. All right. Your respiratory health and things like that. Get into that now. Don't wait until it's 12 degrees outside. You know what I'm saying? And the back of your throat is tingling. You know what I mean? Everybody should be eating a raw clove of garlic at least once a month. You know what I mean? Or cut up some garlic, put it in some honey and jar it, and come back in a couple weeks so you can have some fermented garlic and honey. You know, or take some sage leaves. I got some sage hanging up out here, some fresh sage. I'm gonna make some sage honey. All right, that's really good for coughs. I could go all day about health. Shalom to the elect. All praises to Yahweh, Bashim Al Shai, Bashim Kakadash, and double honors to our elders and apostles, a great millstone. Shalom, shalom. Lord willing, I'll do a video on husbandry next. You know, some things I got going as far as herbs. Shalom.